So you said to us that you reached out for support from Capa. So what support did you get? Was it just you? Was it the whole family? And what happened with that support? Did you see changes? Did you put things into place? Tell me about that time actually working with Capa.
So I found the aims really coherent and clear. It wasn't judgmental. It was really quite proactive and realistic in a soft approach. Initially, Jane worked with me and got a feel for the family and focused so I could focus on the effects of all of us really, not just my son and me. And it was a real reminder that, of course, I knew that it impacted everybody, but that it's just not the quiet and the good ones are also impacted while they're being quiet and watching. Initially, she worked with me, and looking back, I was pretty broken. So it was really useful to have someone objective and advocate for the children and for me in respect of how they all may feel, well, whilst reassuring me that I was doing my best and actually quite a good job despite how overwhelming it all felt. And she gave me the confidence to act and question and to use strategies, um, simple strategies, things that I still use now and I will continue to use in all my relationships actually, um, whether home or not, going forward. Then after a while, she started seeing my son separately, something he was really resistant to do at first, but it happened, and you know, he turned up every time and wouldn't talk to me about it, but at least I knew he was talking to somebody that I trusted. And then we got to the point quite a while after where we met on Zoom, all three of us in different rooms, and that allowed my son to speak freely and me as well, and say how we felt without any confrontation or shouting or storming out. She also had a session with him and his dad at one point too. So both my son and I drew up an agreement of behaviour and what we would try and implement. And as Jane say, what are your bottom lines? So what will you accept and what won't you accept? You know, don't sweat the small stuff, sort of thing. And this was something that clearly made the other kids feel really safe and gave me confidence in a weird way. I think the biggest impact of that was actually having those strategies and having my bottom lines. It gave me the courage to call the police, something I thought I'd never do. I was so frightened of it. I don't know why. And this is one of the pivotal moments of change for me. You know, it actually showed my son that I'm not accepting this behaviour and I'm not showing the others it's acceptable. I don't want to be someone whose son hurt their partner or taught the other kids that this is acceptable behaviour. And the police were brilliant and de-escalated the situation, and the total opposite of my misconceptions. They'd be criminalised, they'd mess up his life forever. It couldn't be further from the truth. I think that was one of the best things in hindsight, not at the time, that could have happened. The other two received support too. They had sessions with Jane and got their voice heard. And it felt that everyone was being heard, which was the most important thing for them at the time. Even if we couldn't change the situation, to know that we were trying and that we were moving forward. So with my permission, she also liaised with the school so they could support the kids too, and they did it really well. So all the children were referred for support, and so I mean things still can be a challenge now and again, but if I look back to that time about 4 years ago, life is unrecognisable and in the best way. You know, we've had our ups and downs and still do, and it's not been a quick fix. Though interestingly, at the time my son would moan about having to see Jane, but he went every single time, his choice. And when things got tough or he was struggling, and he still to this day mentions, the first person he'll mention is Jane, and the first person he would contact would be Jane. And it was really reassuring for me to know that she would signpost him. Also, when the work was done and we stopped having Capa involved, that was really useful as well, because there were boundaries in place, and because he really respected Jane, and she said, look, I'm not a therapist, this is what you need to do next, I'll support you and I'll guide you, but this is what you need to do. He agreed, and he would never have gone if anyone else had suggested that. And it was all about building those relationships, which helped me build relationships with him. And he's still going, and he's still clearly benefiting from it. So that was brilliant.